A mostly sunny good morning to some of you. A little bit of cloud cover for others, especially over in Michigan's thumb, where that northwest wind is blowing clouds and even a sprinkler or two in Michigan's upper thumb all the way down to just south of Port Huron. But you get a little bit closer to Detroit and things begin to thin out cloud-wise. And they're looking at some sun right now in downtown Detroit, where it's currently 52. Here, we're looking at 46 degrees at the airport, 46 at Radio Center. Downtown Midland is at 46. Downtown Bay City is at 45. We do have a northwest wind, about 12, 13 miles per hour. We have seen some gusts of close to 20 this hour. A little bit earlier this morning and late last night, we were looking at wind gusts upwards of 25 miles per hour. And then once those temperatures dip down into the upper 30s, low 40s, the wind chill was actually 34 degrees about 4 o'clock this morning. So things were downright chilly. And if you're outside working and you're out of the wind, it's not really all that bad. But if you're in the breeze, it is pretty chilly. And if you plan on doing some activities a little bit later on this afternoon, you're still going to have the winds to contend with. So it will be chilly. No, you don't look odd if you're wearing a little bit heavier coat, because it is chilly. We do have some wind chill. As far as precipitation is concerned, not really a whole heck of a lot out of this system that moved through late, in many cases right around sunset, as we mentioned yesterday, and after. I think the most that I saw was over in Port Hope. Over in eastern Huron County, they had 0.13 of an inch. I'm looking at a lot of reporting stations that didn't have much more than that, if anything. Bad Axe had about 0.2. Carroll had 0.2. Cass City had about 1/10 of an inch. The back 40 in Richville, I'm looking at about 9/100 of an inch of rain there. And then you move down a little bit further south. Cass City had 11/100. But you move further south in the thumb, the rainfall amounts were less than that. Owasso had 9/100. Durand only had just barely a trace. The Burton area, about 2/100 of an inch. Lapeer, about 3/100 of an inch. And then down by the Detroit area, hardly nothing to talk about at all. Northern Michigan did see more in the way of precipitation as we went through the midday and afternoons yesterday. Alpena had almost 7/10 of an inch. Pellston, 1/3 of an inch. Houghton Lake had 1,500. Gaylord had about 2,700. And then we were looking at precipitation tallies in the Fife Lake area, 6/10 of an inch. Gaylord had 1/4 of an inch. Standish had 1,500 of an inch. Traverse City, though, did have more. They had right around 8/10 of an inch, because that frontal system was hanging there. And there was a little bit more activity ahead of the front, because the temperature variant was quite a bit greater than what it was later in the afternoon when the front finally settled down through here. Matter of fact, we reached our high temperature for the day, which was 71 yesterday, at about 20 minutes after 1. And then it started to slide ever so gradually. And then obviously about 5:36, right in there, the frontal system moves through, and you could really feel not only a change in wind direction, but an increase in the winds. And you could really feel the temperature begin to drop. So where some folks were wearing some shorts and T-shirt and working outside, about 5:30, 6 o'clock, they had to go in and get a jacket to change their attire just a little bit. What are we looking at as far as a high temperature today? 49, I think, is about all the warmer we're going to get. Partly sunny as we go through the afternoon hours for the area to the east of I-75. West of I-75, we're going to be looking at partly cloudy skies. Not all that bad of a day, really. A north wind that will be decreasing as we go through the afternoon. And then it'll become westerly after midnight tonight. Our low tonight will be 29. Sun will set this evening at 7:07, rise tomorrow morning at 7:42. Some folks with maybe a little cloud or so might not drop down that far, but I think it's a pretty safe guess. We are going to be looking at temperatures at or slightly below the freezing mark. Tomorrow, warmer, 56 for a high with sunshine. The clouds, whatever clouds there are early in the morning, will really thin out during the day. 42 for a low tomorrow night. High pressure over western Missouri is going to be dominating our weather as we go into not only the first part of the weekend, but also the second part. Partly sunny skies and warmer still on Sunday, 65. So we'll actually be a little bit above average as far as temperature goes during the day. There will be a weak front crossing the upper peninsula, but it's not going to affect our weather here at all. High pressure, which was over western Missouri, will settle into the Tennessee Valley during the day on Sunday. That's going to account for our warmer temperatures and also keep that cold front from dropping down out of the upper peninsula, maybe possibly across the straits, but that's going to be about it, running from east to west. Monday, sunshine 60. Tuesday, sunshine close to 70. If we don't hit 70 on Tuesday, we will on Sunday, or I should say on Wednesday. Then as we go through the afternoon, late afternoon and the evening, another frontal system will be moving through. So we'll have a chance of some precipitation Wednesday evening into the day on Thursday, upper 50s for a high on Thursday, after in that low 70-degree range on Wednesday. But all the way through this period, up through the 20th of the month, our precipitation pattern is going to be slightly below normal for this time of the year, and the temperatures are going to be hovering maybe a little bit lower, maybe just a touch higher than our average high, which is 64, and our average low, which is 44. Incidentally, on this date in 1978, we had snow flurries. No measurable, nothing like that at all. Yesterday, we mentioned to you it was a few more days into October before we actually saw snow on the ground. But we did have snow flurry activity on this date back in 1978. More on the weather as we go through the broadcast. Standing by, Gary Kaufman over at Star of the West. We'll talk to him. But first, this.
Nutrient Ag Solutions has the local expertise to recommend the corn, soybean, and other seed products that are the best fit for your field. Plus, unparalleled agronomic support with products and services to unlock yield potential and improve crop performance from planting to harvest. Ask about our financing options to help you get more from every acre and lead the field. Visit your local Nutrient Ag Solutions branch or go to nutrientagsolutions.com.
Say, do you want to unlock the secret to higher yields? If you're applying dry fertilizer, the key to better yield potential is Titan XC. Titan XC is a fertilizer biocatalyst that unlocks and releases the bound up nutrients in granular fertilizer, promoting better root uptake and plant growth. Drive performance this season and beyond. Release more nutrition. Expect better results with Titan XC. For more information, visit lpi.ag/unlock or contact your Nutrient Ag Solutions crop consultant today. Incidentally, Farm Service, the weather report brought to you by the folks at Nutrient Ag Solutions. Farm Service brought to you today by the folks at Pivot Bio, Don Morris and Allie Morris. Hey, the demand for nitrogen has never been higher. Fortunately, Pivot Bio has transformed the way fertilizer is produced and used by farmers. Unlike synthetic nitrogen fertilizers, the cost of Pivot Bio Proven 40 is every bit as consistent as its performance. And since it's applied in furrow at planting, it is weatherproof. Pivot Bio Proven 40 is the only predictable weatherproof nitrogen around. So turn to a better nitrogen with Pivot Bio. Just get a hold of Don Morris at 989-239-2791 or Allie Morris at 989-780-3770. We say good morning to Gary Kaufman over at Star of the West. Gary, we need a little recovery going on here. What's happening right now?
Well, we got barely positives across the board so far. I mean, they've been on both sides here today, but we're back on the positive. Right now, Terry, we got actually cash wheat up 3 right now at 842 on the white, 792 on the red. New crop for next year up 3 as well at 875 on the white, 825 on the red. Cash corn and new crop corn up 6 at 627. And cash and new crop soybeans up a penny at $12.94.
So for the week, how did we fare?
Yeah, I was just looking at that. Last week, overall for the whole week, corn was up a penny. Well, this week for the week, corn's up about 3 cents. Last week, soybeans were down 61, and thus far this week, they're up about or down about 7. And ironically, last week wheat was up 41, and this week down 41. So it's kind of a wash on the wheat, but market news. We had poor export sales on corn yesterday. So that kind of brought corn down a little bit, and the wheat was at the low end of the range. So demand, has been a kind of an issue with both corn and beans, not so bad, but wheat. Argentina, Brazil, looking at a big bumper crop down there, so that's got soybeans retracing a little bit too as well. So,
and of course, they're getting ready for spring planting down there too, aren't they?
Yeah, there's some estimates out on the Brazilian bean crop, Terry, looking at a record large potential of 5.6 billion bushel, and that would be up almost 981 million bushel from a year ago. So, well, it's still early, but that's the potential they got down there for sure. So,
have a nice weekend, Gary. We'll talk to you next week.
I will. You do the same. Thanks, Terry.
Will do. Gary Kaufman over at Star of the West. A little bit more as far as what the markets are doing. Doug Klein from Oppenheimer standing by. The market report brought to you by Schaefer and Beerline. If you're ready to upgrade to a new farm truck, a Ram truck for your family farm, now is the time to order your new Ram 1525 or 3500. So come see them at Schaefer and Beerline in Frankenmuth, the Great Lakes Bay Area certified ag dealer. Ordering is the way to go right now, so buy with confidence from Schaefer and Beerline since 1852, where family and service sells cars. And by Thumb Bank, serving the needs of agriculture for well over 125 years. A couple locations in Bay City, also Cass City, Caseville, Pigeon, Bad Axe, and now in Marlette. Thumb Bank, where relationships are built on trust. Winding up the week.
Winding up.
Or winding down. I don't know. What direction are we going right now?
Holy mackerel. Well, the jobs report came in too strong today. Of course, they're going to use that as a reason to raise interest rates, along with the retail price of gasoline, even though we know that's all a sham. Crude oil's up $3.33 today, 91.78, because nobody messes with Joe. So here you go. Communism really isn't the thing for me, but I guess we're stuck with what we're stuck with until we can vote the way we want to vote. So here's your numbers. December corn, 681 1/4, up 5 3/4. The September of 23 corn, 637 1/4, up 4 1/4. November soybeans, 1358 3/4, up 3/4 of a penny. The March soybeans, 1381 1/2, up a half a penny. And November of 23 soybeans, 1353, up 2 cents. December wheat, 880 1/2, up 1 1/2. And July of 23 wheat, 895 1/2, up 4 1/4. Crude oil, 91.74, up $3.29. Heating oil is 403.14, up 16.5 cents. Gasoline is 272.16, up 4 cents. Natural gas is 683 1/2, down 13.5 cents. Over to currencies, Canadian dollar. U.S. dollar buys you 136.84 at the border. That's down 63 ticks. The yen, the U.S. dollar buys you 145.16 yen. That's up 4 ticks. That's another new low for the yen. The euro is 97.80. That's down 8 ticks, and that's pretty close to a new low too. The dollar's at 112.37. That's up 12 ticks. Gold's at 1709.90, down $10.90. Silver's 20.32, down 34 cents. Platinum's at 9.35. That's up $3.
All right. You have a nice weekend, Doug.
We'll try. You too.
And get that price of gas down a little bit, okay?
No, nobody messes with Joe now.
No, I know.
Don't
I
mess
know.
with Joe.
Talk to you later, Doug.
Okay.
Doug Klein over at Oppenheimer. Kim Weiss joins us right after this.
At Beta Seed, we deliver the nation's premier sugar beet seed every spring and superior performance every fall. But neither represent our most important delivery. That honor is reserved for a delivery that knows no season. Confidence. Confidence delivered by a team of breeding professionals identifying the best traits tailored to your market. It's the industry's leading feedback loop that's led by your Beta Seed rep. From grower to rep to breeder and back again. Only Beta Seed can deliver all that. Beta Seed, breeding confidence.
Kim Weiss from Lingle Equipment joining me right now. Kim, lots of things going on as far as the equipment industry goes. From what I understand, Kubota is stepping up to the plate here for fourth quarter.
A lot of times in the last 6 months, stuff has came in and it has already been sold weeks and months prior to it even arriving. But yesterday we got a tractor in, and we've got a couple of these tractors, the subcompact tractor, the BX series, that isn't sold. And one that I wanted to bring to your attention is a BX23 tractor loader backhoe. It is a great little subcompact tractor, 23 horse, hydro transmission, 4-wheel drive, power steering. It's got industrial tires on it, comes with a 3-point hitch, a LA 340 front loader with a 48-inch quick attach bucket that you can take the bucket off and put forks on or a grapple on. And then it's got a BT 603 backhoe with mounting kit and a 16-inch backhoe bucket. Great little tractor to use for planting trees, if you got to dig a little tile in to drain something or whatever you want to do that you need a little backhoe tractor. This is a great little tractor for that, and it's available. Come on in and see me. Let's sit down and we'll talk about it. I'll show it to you, and if this works, we'll work something out that you can own that machine. We still have 0% interest for 60 months on the BX series tractors, and we got cash rebates. Come on in and sit down and talk about it. Or give me a call, 989-754-7801. Get a pen and I'll say it again, 989-754-7801. Or send me an email at k.weiss@lingle1.com, and we'll make this happen that you can own that tractor.
Sounds great. Kim, have a nice weekend, okay?
You too, Terry.
Will do. Kim Weiss over at Lingle Equipment.
Soil prep for next year begins as soon as the harvest is over. Don't miss out on nutrients you can return to your soil. Applying a Dairy Dew compost blend accelerates the conversion of crop stubble into next year's plant food. That remaining plant material is full of nutrients you want to return to the soil. Dairy Dew blends from Morgan Composting, like K2, Gypsum Plus, and Layer Ash blend with gypsum, helps with decomposition, releasing those nutrients for next year's crops while also adding good biology and other missing nutrients to your soil. Like a lot of things right now, supplies are limited, so contact Morgan Composting to place your order for fall and lock in your price now. Crops don't wait. The seasons don't wait. You shouldn't wait. Address soil health now for better yields next year. Not sure which is the best Dairy Dew compost blend for your fields? Contact a soil health expert at Morgan Composting for a consultation and soil testing. Call today or visit dairydew.com to learn more.
Tough job? You need a tough tractor. That's what you get with an all-new John Deere compact tractor from Hudson. Ranging from 23 to 66 horsepower, standard four-wheel drive and diesel engine, it makes light of hard work. Get up to $2,250 off. And did we mention 0% for 84-month financing? Visit your nearest location or find out more at HudsonInc.com. Offer ends October 29th, 2022. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Along with me, Chuck Cervinsky from Maple Hill Nursery over in Midland. Chuck, we need to be doing some things out there right now, don't we?
Yeah, we're in cleanup mode right now for fall. If your garden was plagued with pests this past summer, which a lot of ours were, utilizing an integrated pest management practice now, such as cutting back and removing foliage and stems of plants that might have been diseased or infected, is going to give you a leg up on insect and disease invasion that you could have next year. And what we find is a lot of the insects lay eggs on the underside of leaves, which will hatch next spring if you leave them alone. And what you're going to want to do is trim those off and put them in a pile away from plants so they don't spread back into the bed area. Cutting stems all the way back to the ground also helps immensely, as things like slugs are going to hide deep in petioles of plants like hostas and daylilies. Cleaning up now will also allow sunlight and air to dry out that soil surface, helping to suppress any pathogens that thrive in piled up leaf litter in the soil. And it helps plants get off to a disease-free start next spring.
And as far as any bulbs, changing things, doing some trimming, in particular doing some trimming here for fall. Is now a good time to be doing that, Chuck?
Definitely. It's a good time to do pretty much anything right now. The only thing that you should have done earlier is trimming on your flowering bushes, but anything, let's say you've got a forsythia that's 8 feet high and you want to trim it back, and you don't care if it, about blooming next year, you can do that now without a problem. Some of our evergreens can also be trimmed right now.
Good advice. And again, a lot of the products you're talking about, you have at the store, right?
Definitely. We sure do.
All right. Have a nice weekend, Chuck.
You too. Bye-bye.
We'll talk to you again. Chuck Zervinsky over at Maple Hill Nursery.
How do you make the most of your land? Well, it depends who you ask. If you ask the Wrens or the Caggianos, who run with us on John Deere mowers, they'd tell you.
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
Get as much done in advance as possible.
I jump out of the house, a cup of coffee, and I'm at work.
But the Upshaws, the Hubbards, and the Allens, who work behind the wheel of John Deere compact tractors, would say,
something that's worth doing isn't always easy.
If it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
And most of all,
I'll make the earth take the shape that I want it to take.
Then there's the Nelsons and the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their Gator UTVs.
It's important to just take it one day at a time.
You can't be all working up, right?
The most fun we have on the Gator is just ripping around the property.
It's a way of life.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. How will you make the most of yours? Nothing runs like a Deere.
Contact one of Tri-County Equipment's 11 locations in Bad Axe, Birch Run, Burton, Caro, Fenton, Lapeer, Marlette, Reese, Rochester Hills, Saginaw, or Sandusky, or visit Tri-County Equipment online at tricountyequipment.com.
Looks like the window of opportunity when it comes to harvest continues to be quite broad right now. Very little, if any, precipitation is in the forecast, at least through the middle of next week. So be very careful, be safe, and get that harvest done. We'll be back at 12:30 with an update. Now we conclude our program with the playing of our national anthem.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW-FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.
I'm Steve Kathan. New York City's mayor declares a state of emergency over a growing migrant crisis.
We now have a situation